Okay, thanks for joining everyone. This is Qdabra's weekly webinar. I'm Joanne Alfafara. I'm a training and support engineer for Qdabra. And today we're going to talk about digital signatures in InfoPath. This is actually a two-part series. The first one talked about electronic signatures, but today we're going to go over more of digital signatures. Basically how to use them, how to deal with issues that most users are experiencing with digital signatures. And at the end, I'm also going to talk about one of the most popular digital solution today, ARX Cosign. Oops, okay. So the goal of this webinar, again, is to give you a short presentation that will take just about 20 to 30 minutes of your time. I know everyone is busy trying to get their job done, so we really appreciate and value your time, and we'll make this presentation as short as possible. All right, so let's start by defining digital signatures. What is a digital signature? Digital signatures are the electronic equivalent of your handwritten signature. You can use a digital signature for many of the same reasons that you might sign a paper document, for example. And some of the typical documents that require a digital signature include purchase orders, for example, agreements with your partners or contracts, expense reports, and there are many of them actually, and those are just examples. And when a document is signed with a digital signature, it creates an electronic fingerprint. And this fingerprint or coded message is unique to both the document and the signer. So it ensures authenticity, integrity, and non-repudiation. Non-repudiation meaning that a user can't deny that they signed the document. Also, the digital signature cannot be duplicated, can't be modified or tampered. And moving on, before you can add a digital signature to a form, we should consider first some of the requirements here. So before you can sign an InfoPath form with a digital signature, you must first need to have a digital certificate. A digital certificate is like it's like a secret code assigned to you, and you are the only person who can assign that code to a form. So when you do, that code will be your digital signature. You can maybe think of it as the electronic counterpart of your ID, for example, a driver's license ID or a passport, maybe. You use them when doing business or transactions, right? So in the same way, when you do transactions in the web, your digital certificate will serve as your ID. Now, the next question you have in mind maybe is how you can obtain a digital certificate. Digital certificates may be issued by your IT department in your company, or you may need to obtain one from a commercial certificate authority such as VeriSign, for example. So definitely check with your IT department to find out how to obtain your certificate if you're going to use digital signatures in your form. And once the digital certificate is issued to you, it will contain some important information, like, for example, who the certificate was issued to, can be your name, as well as the certifying authority that issued the certificate. And additionally, it contains the expiration date, and there are also private keys which are embedded in the certificate. This is the visible part of the certificate, but the keys are hidden in the certificate. So when a digital certificate is used to sign documents, these ID information is stored with a signed item in a secure and verifiable form so that it can be displayed to a user to establish that trust relationship. So the next thing to check is when using built-in digital signature in InfoPath, a requirement is to use a browser that supports ActiveX controls. And the only browser that fully supports ActiveX is Internet Explorer. So if you're using Chrome, Firefox, or any other browser and not IE, you might encounter some issues there. So you'd rather use Internet Explorer if you're going to use digital signatures for InfoPath. And also, if it's your first time signing the form with a digital signature, Internet Explorer will ask you to install the ActiveX control, and from there you can follow the wizard and the instructions. All right. So now once you have established the digital certificate and you're using IE, of course, the next step is to enable digital signature in your form template. And to do that, you simply go to File, Info, Form Options, and look for the category Digital Signatures. And so this is a screenshot of my form options. And here I selected the option to allow signing parts of the form. And you may be wondering why InfoPath is only allowing to sign parts of the form and not the entire form. It's because when applying digital signatures, InfoPath lets you decide to specify whether all or only parts of the form will be signed. And these options depend on the type of the form you're using. For example, if you're using a filler form, you have two options. You can sign the form or the entire form, and you can also sign parts of the form. So those two options are available for you if you're using filler form. But if you're using browser form, the only option available for you is to allow signing only parts of the form. And that's a limitation of browser InfoPath Forms. But you don't want to be limited to that, because in some cases you'll want to use the form in the browser and sign the entire form. And there's a trick to that actually, which I'm going to show you shortly. Next, how do you apply a digital signature to an InfoPath form? The easiest way is to use a section control. So all the controls that contain this data that you want to be signed, put them in a section and open the section properties and then go to the digital signatures tab. So this is where you will select, you will check allow users to digitally sign this section, and you will also select the section to be signed. In this case, I have my fields or the root node of my entire form. You can also select whether or not to show signatures in the section, or check that when signed, make controls read-only. So you have those options. So that's how easy it is to configure digital signatures. But like I said earlier, what if you need to sign the entire form in the browser, but InfoPath imposes this limitation of you can only sign parts of the form? Well, you can still sign the entire form, and the trick to do that is to add all of the controls in your form into one section, and then add the digital signature into that one section. So it's very easy and simple, and it will force users to sign the entire data in the form. All right. So now how does it work in SharePoint? To determine if digital signatures are enabled for your form, you can look for a link that says click here to sign this section, and you can find it at the bottom of the form. And clicking that link will open an ActiveX control, this part, that will ask you to do 3 steps. First, it will ask you to verify that the data that you are signing are correct. That's important. It will display an image of the form where you can review the data in it. And after verifying that the data is correct, you can move on to the next step, which is selecting the certificate. And after selecting the certificate, you need to check that you have verified this content before signing. And then after doing all of that, you can go ahead and click the sign button below. And after signing, the signature will display at the bottom of the form, and it will show your valid signature, which in this case is showing your name, as well as the date and time when you signed the form. So let me show you a quick demo of a sample form that I've configured to use digital signatures. So this is a sample form, an order and payment authorization form. And this is already configured to, or already enabled to use digital signature. If I open my form options, digital signatures, you'll see that I have selected here to allow signing parts of the form, and I have selected the section to be signed. And I have also placed all the controls into one section. And let's see the section properties here. I've also configured the section to be signed with a digital signature. So let's go to the form library where I've published the form. If I open a new document, so this is the order and payment form, payment authorization form, which asks me to enter some order information, for example, some of the items and amount and account to be charged. So let me quickly fill out this field. And one last more. Okay, and I will click this link here that says click here to sign this section. And InfoPath normally displays this message where it says the form contains changes that must be processed before it can be signed. Click OK to update the form and then try signing again. You can just ignore that message. And so there goes our ActiveX control, the digital signature control. So this is the first step. We'll verify that the data is correct. And once you verify that all data are correct, you can select the certificate. So this will list all the available certificates for me, and I will select the certificate that is trusted by my server. So I will click OK. and I will check that I have verified this content before signing, and I will sign the form. Okay, so there's my signature. It shows valid and the day-to-day and time as well. So that's how you sign a browser form with a digital signature. Let me quickly go back here in my slide. Okay. So if, for example, you've been using digital signatures for a while, for months, and you're happy with it, and one day you need to update your form template. For example, you need to add a few extra fields to your form. So there goes the problem with digital signatures, because when the form template is updated, existing forms signed with digital signatures will break. And it's a known issue with InfoPath, because InfoPath's automatic upgrade generates this upgrade.xsl file, which updates the XML on open to match the current template version. And this XSL file can break the signature in three ways. It can drop a part of the code in the XML, and it can also change the white space in the XML that breaks the digital signatures even when the form is unmodified. But you don't need to fully understand what's happening in the background there. But maybe you do want to know if there's a solution to this, or a workaround at least, and there is. In order to prevent that from happening, you can turn the auto upgrade off before republishing your updated form template to SharePoint. And that won't break the existing forms signed with digital signatures, and there will be no errors when opening existing forms. But the only thing is that existing forms will remain using the old form template. And let me again quickly show you how that happens. So this is my form, and for example, I want to add a few extra fields in my form. Say I want to add another group, and in that group I want to add just a few fields. Okay, and let's place those fields in the view. Okay. So after modifying your form template, you will publish this updated form template to your form library, right? And I have already done that. And this is what happens when you publish the updated form template to your form library. This is what happens to your existing forms signed with digital signatures. When you open one, it will show you this error that says this form is digitally signed but was created with an older version of the form template. This form will be upgraded to work with the new template, but this may remove its signatures. Do you still want to open? So if you click OK, it will show you another error. So that's really frustrating. And you can't really open the form totally. So that's what happens when digital signatures break because you updated the form template. So like I said, the workaround is to turn the auto upgrade off. And where can you find that in the form? So going back in the form, you can find that in the form options again. In the versioning category here, you'll see that for these option, update existing forms, the automatically upgrade existing forms is selected by default. So what we want to do is we want to select do nothing to existing forms, but this option will upgrade your current forms, but so not just not the existing forms. So let's make that change, and let's see if I publish this. Let's just do the quick publish. And just waiting for that. Okay, let's go to the form library. Okay, if we open an existing form, it should open without any problems. Okay, so this message is normal. It's just saying that parts of this form are digitally signed and cannot be modified. So just ignore that message. Okay, so you'll see that the existing form worked. There's no error displayed because we didn't upgrade the existing form. So going back to my slides here. So here's a quick shout out to ARX Cosign. ARX Cosign is a partner of Qdabra. They have this great digital signature solution that supports InfoPath and SharePoint, and it's been widely used by many companies. And they have this product, their latest product, Cosign Connector for SharePoint. It's an installable solution that can be integrated with SharePoint, and once installed, it allows easily signing of InfoPath forms. It also does not rely on InfoPath when verifying signature, but uses an appliance or box to verify. It installs quickly with minimal need for administrative management, and if you're using mobile devices or tablets when accessing SharePoint, you can also sign your InfoPath forms from there when using Cosign. So when the Cosign solution is installed in your SharePoint server, the Cosign tab will be displayed in your SharePoint like that in my screen. And the Cosign tab, the interface is very much like the the Library and Documents tab, if you're familiar with SharePoint. And that is where you will configure the signature settings and create the signature profiles for content types to be signed with the digital signature. So if you're familiar with SharePoint, you can easily adapt to this solution. Now, to sign a form with Cosign, what you need to do is just click on the contextual menu of the form you want to sign, and then simply click the Sign with Cosign option. And that will take you to a page where you're going to select the signature profiles and your reason for signing, and then you can enter your username and password. And after signing, then your form will be signed with the Cosign digital signature. And Cosign also uses graphical signature, unlike the built-in digital signature like you've seen earlier. It's just showing my name. But Cosign uses graphics, and you can add graphical signature to your InfoPath as well. And if a document integrity is confirmed, it will show a green check at the back of the signature. And when tamper is detected, it will show a red X at the back of the signature, meaning that the form or the signature is invalidated because the data is tampered. So it gives you more security. Also, the biggest advantage with Cosign is you can use it with many different applications, not just InfoPath. You can use Cosign's digital signatures with Word, Excel, PDF, and many others. So having one digital signature solution for all your processes is a big factor that you might want to consider when choosing the path of digital signatures. All right, and here's a quick summary of ARX Cosign versus built-in InfoPath digital signature solution. Like I said, ARX Cosign allows easily adding digital signatures to InfoPath Forms, and it does not rely on InfoPath when verifying because it uses an appliance or box to verify the signature. If you're using Active Directory, it can also synchronize your signature or the signer identity to your Active Directory. And using graphical signature is also a big plus, of course. And there's a minimal need for administrative management because it can be installed quickly. So that means less work hours for you. And like I said, you can also use it on mobile devices or tablets, and it can sign a wide variety of applications, so you're not limited to just InfoPath. On the other hand, built-in digital signatures in InfoPath is just out of the box, so it's a low-cost solution, and it requires manual digital certificate configuration because you need to obtain a digital certificate, and you need to have your administrator configure that certificate to your SharePoint server and upload it to the trusted root authority. So there's many steps involved when using the built-in one, and it relies on InfoPath when verifying your signature. That's why sometimes it breaks when you're updating the form template. And it's also not using graphics or graphical signature, but it uses a private key to identify the user's signature, just like Cosign does. And the only downside with the built-in one is other users can remove your signature. So those are the things that you might consider when you'll decide whether or not to choose digital signatures. And here are some of the links where you can find the ARX Cosign website. Also, the link to their solution, the Cosign for SharePoint, and also our website partners link site, which shows ARX on that page. All right, so before I end this presentation, here's some information on what Qdabra does and how you can reach us. You can reach us via the largest InfoPath community, InfoPathDev.com. And we guarantee 90% response to any InfoPath-related questions you have, so feel free to post any InfoPath questions you have in that site, InfoPathDev.com. And we also give samples and free templates, so just check out the download sections in our site. We also provide support if you're developing InfoPath Forms and encountered any problems, or if you need some help, you can hire us for some pay-as-you-go support. We also do consulting work, and we offer a very powerful web service, DBXL, that bridges the gap between InfoPath, SharePoint, and SQL. So you may check Qdabra.com for more details about our products and services. I also just want to quickly announce that we have an online InfoPath training coming up on June 10 to 14. It's a 5-day class, about half a day, and Patrick Hosted, our CEO and InfoPath MVP, is the instructor in that class. So if you're interested, you can check this link for more details.
Thanks, Joanne. This has been a great presentation, really a very timely topic here. A lot of people are very interested in signing their forms. Just want to remind people that we did have a webinar a week ago, or was it last week? It wasn't last week, it was a couple weeks ago, where we covered electronic signatures. For many forms, electronic signatures, where you don't need to have a legally binding signature, you might want to look at that webinar as well. It's a simpler approach. It does include graphical images. Obviously, it's not legally binding, so that's the issue with that. But we did record that, and we did put it on YouTube, our YouTube site, several weeks ago. We're here to answer your questions, and we have, I think, a few minutes left here. We're a little bit over, but if you've got questions, this is a great time to ask them. So we have a bunch of questions here. I'm just going to run through these. Let's see. So first question, what do you mean when you say that users can remove your signature? And Joanne, I wasn't quite sure about this question from Ralph here. Does it mean that you can just go into the form library and actually just edit the form? How do other users remove the signature? If you could maybe show that, that would be interesting, because I'm not sure myself.
Yeah.
While
Okay.
you're yes, that's the only question we have so far. So if others have questions, great time to ask questions. It doesn't have to be about digital signatures. It could be about anything. And we can't promise you that we will answer every question, but we'll try.
Yeah, okay, so to answer that question, when the form is signed with a digital signature, your digital signature will be displayed at the bottom here, and it will give you the option to remove the signature. So if you remove that signature, that will enable the fields here. You see that if I hover on any of the fields here, it will show that little icon to the right of the field, which indicates that that field is digitally signed. So if I remove this signature, so it will ask, are you sure if you want to remove this signature? This action can be undone. So after removing, I can modify the form and sign. For example, if I'm a different user, I will be able to sign the form with my own signature. So that's how the built-in InfoPath
One
digital
work,
signature
yeah,
looks.
that's great. So one workaround, I'm just guessing here, Ralph, but one workaround you could do is you can have a workflow that moves the form into a library that is read-write protected, and that way, if it's read-only, they would not be able to do that. So I'm just guessing that's probably the quick and workaround there. Another question from Yasser here: if the signature was removed, would the signer get notified by email? No, they would not, unless you configured a workflow. You could configure a workflow such that when the form changes, it notifies the original signer, but that would be an extra step. But that's a great question. And the other question here is how to validate the signature within the form. Well, InfoPath, SharePoint, well actually just InfoPath does that for you as part of the signature control. It's going to verify that it's valid, because what it does is it actually stores an image of the signed form along with your key, and it hashes it together to create this special thing that it checks. And if the hash code checks with the image, then it's valid. Otherwise, it's not. So that's why when you see that dialog pop up, it has you confirm an image. It's taking that image and it's actually using that to generate a code, which is then verified when you open the form. So it actually takes another image when you open the form and verifies it again to make sure that it's the same one. Great questions. We have time for one more question if someone's got a question. Otherwise, I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning, and I want to thank Joanne especially for this wonderful presentation. Really a very, very comprehensive. There are a lot of sites out there that talk about digital signatures. Microsoft's got a site, and I think, I don't know, Joanne, if you've got the link, but we might want to show them that link that I sent you yesterday from the Microsoft site if you've got it. In closing, and we will put it in the deck here. We are going to put all of this material out on our site. If you fill out the feedback form, we will give it to you for free. And if you don't fill out the feedback form and you want to get to it a couple months from now, it's just a small fee, $29 processing fee, just for our time to go dig it up for you. But we do provide the free package for you if you fill out the feedback form, so just don't forget to send us quick feedback on this webinar topic, and you'll get all the goodies. You'll get the sample form, you'll get the presentation, you'll get a nice blog, an article from Joanne describing how to do it, and we look forward to having you in our webinar next week. Here's the link. Here's the, I guess Joanne found the link. That's great. So there's quite a bit of content out on the website, including the Microsoft site, on how to do this. Question from Yasser: I am using Cosign. That's great. Yeah, so Yasser, more than happy to follow up with you after the session here. Just send us an email to support@qdabra.com. We're more than happy to answer your Cosign questions. We have installed Cosign, ARX Cosign, for a number of customers, and we're very happy with the product. Really want to help you out with InfoPath. So just send email to support@qdabra.com, and we'll respond to you regarding the Cosign questions. We may in the future have another demo where we actually show the Cosign appliance working in InfoPath form. We didn't have time today for that, but we look forward to doing that in the future. Wonderful. Thank you very much, everyone, and thanks to you, Joanne, for this great webinar.
Thanks, Patrick.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
The